because someone has committed a crime, it doesn't make them a criminal.
It's giving. It's giving.
I want to see trans kids.
The secretary, because the fact of the matter is,
being undocumented is actually not a crime.
The prisons are set up in our society. I would argue that they do not work. They do not make us safer.
Good morning, Patriots. How you doing today? This is Mike the Patriot coming to you live on all the channels, including YouTube, which I was grounded from for a little while. But it is what it is, right? I was on 14 days restriction and 14 days extra duty because, well, it's YouTube. What do you expect, right? What's with all the hearts? It's like the chat room's full of hearts. It's like, whoa. I know it's Valentine's Day tomorrow, but gee whiz, folks. I'm just playing. I'm just messing with you. I'm just playing. All righty then. Let's get started with the show. This is the day that the Lord has made, and I will rejoice and be glad in it. I don't know if Maureen is. Yes, okay. And the word of the day, as given by the Lord, presented by Maureen in the Woods, is Philippians 2:12 through 18. That's Philippians 2:12 through 18. Make sure you crack open the Bible, see what God has for you today, because God is absolutely good all the time, and all the time He's good. And as you're logging in, say hi where you're watching from, because hey, if you're on whatever channel you're on, comment, like, share, hit the thumbs up or the heart or whatever it is, because we're all over the place now. And we'll see. There's been something going on over there at X the last few days. Some kind of weird happenings with the show, and I don't know what the deal is. It's become a little bit harder to find. I don't know that if it's they're censoring you kind of thing, or if it's just a technical glitch. One of the things, you go over to some of the Patriot channel, especially the Patriot mythology channels, the ones that react. Someone commented on my show yesterday. One of my posts. What's with the purple tie? Donald Trump had a purple tie on. It's like, not everything. Maybe he got it. Maybe he got it for Christmas from his wife or his son, or maybe he just likes purple. I don't know. Sometimes things just are. One of the things that they've been complaining about over on Telegram is that I had 500 people get removed from my Telegram page. They're shrinking our audience on purpose on Telegram. I know you're a big guy in Telegram. I know you got 250,000 followers. I get it. But your ignorance doesn't mean it's a conspiracy. I'm just giving you an example here on all the different conspiracies. Why you need to kind of figure things out before you go off with them. And I've messed up stuff too myself. I said Thomas Massey voted against the bill when he voted for the bill but he voted against it, but then he voted for it, kind of like Al Gore. So I messed things up too. So it's all good. But over on Telegram, if you don't use your Telegram, like if you don't log into your Telegram account in I think it's a year's time, they delete it. So my Telegram account went from almost 3,000 people in the last 2 or 3 years to down to 1,500 people, like half, because people weren't logging into it. It's that simple. So make sure you do yourself and me a favor. What channel do you think will take you down first? What channel? Well, I mean, it's the usual suspects. I don't know that anybody is going to get really taken down unless they do some real nasty stuff in the current climate, because the current administration will come after you if you do start taking a bunch of people down. So, but I get suspended all the time on Facebook. I mean, on YouTube, and shadow banned like crazy on Facebook. And it's obvious. It's obvious when it's happening. And, you'll post a post on there. I posted for like a week's time. Every post I got went viral. And then it turned off. So as far as that goes, I have no idea. Look for me on X, and look for me on Rumble, and look for me on Telegram. Those are the three most freedom of speech. Yes, They come with their drawbacks, each one of them. The robots and trolls on Telegram are ridiculous. I get zero reach on YouTube. I mean, zero. You know, I've got almost 3,000 followers on YouTube, and I get 10 views. That's why I only do it on Friday, because I don't want to give YouTube any business. But there's 3,000 followers over on YouTube that may see me and realize I'm on Rumble. You see what I'm saying? Same thing with Facebook. I've got almost 12,000. I do got 12. I got over 12,000 followers now on Facebook. And this show will get 600 views. And if I go look at the demographics of this show, 600 views, all of them friends or followers of mine. It will get zero organic reach. Zero. Even if you share it onto your page on Facebook, zero. Nobody will see it on your page unless they're friends of mine. Zero organic reach. And there may even be some of that kind of suppression on Rumble. Because whenever I go on Charlie Simon's show, I get 30,000. Charlie Simon gets just about the same views I do. He's got about just the same audience I do on Rumble, and he gets 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 views on his shows. But the two of us together twice on his page have got 15,000 and 30,000 views. Now, why is that? I don't understand. Maybe we should start doing a show together every day. I don't know. Bongino is live right now. Yeah, Bongino thinks he can take my time slot away from me. I'm just kidding. Bongino's great. I don't have nothing against Bongino at all. So let's get started. Let's get on with the show, they say, right? On with the show. So here is, just for fun, I just want to play a couple of videos just for fun, for funsies, starting off light and all that good stuff. I switch over and watch Bongino after Mike. Well, thank you. I watch Bongino from time to time. I just don't have time. So let's get started with the light stuff. Here you go. Now, I showed you yesterday where somebody took out a shoplifter with a bottle of Coca-Cola, 2-liter bottle of Coca-Cola. Anyways, here is, I guess they decided to one-up it with the toilet.
Hey, he's fighting a woman!
Let's watch that again. You know what I like best about it? They hit him so hard with that toilet, he had to think about it before he fell over. I think that's the first time I've seen somebody taken out by a toilet. Yeah, the toilets are heavy. Wow. I know, right? It's amazing what meth can do. Anyways, do they call that bullying? And then there's this one. Some guy tries to hold up a liquor store. I don't know where this is. Comes in there with like a katana or something. I don't know. Big old sword. But don't bring your sword to a flamethrower fight. But whoever it was looked a bit flush. Oh, just some crazy stuff going on right now. The world is what is it? World is weird and getting weirder. How's it go? Nuts and getting nutsier? I don't know. The world has lost its marbles.
The federal government needs
marbles. Speaking of marbles, yes,
they're going to be.
We'll get to you later, Tim Walls. How about this one? So, road rage incident. Some guys road road raging with a Amazon delivery driver and cuts him off, blocks him off. They get in the street and they're going to fisticuffs.
Or they get it banging. Oh. Oh, you stole his car.
Somebody jumped in his car and took his car while he's out here fighting.
They took your car, bro. Put it in again. I dare you, show my car. Put the enemy again. Let's go. I fucking dare you. Come on, okay, bitch. Put your enemy again.
And he just took his car.
So let's see. Right here. Watch. See this dude right here? Look at him. That's the dude who took the car.
Oh.
Drove off in his car. See ya. I mean, things are getting crazy. Got to be careful what you do. You just can't pull a machete or katana or whatever it is on any old convenience store now. You're liable to get the torch in it. And when you road rage and you get out to fight with somebody, honestly, just get out, to duke it out with somebody because they're driving too slow or cut you off. Then somebody might steal your car. I mean, it's just what's the world coming to. Oh, do you think he learned something? He leered something from this for sure. I'm confident of that. And then the other day, was it 2 days ago now, maybe 3 days ago, whenever it was, earlier this week, they shut down the airspace over El Paso, Texas, and everybody was wondering why. Reportedly, now there is eyewitness accounts over El Paso, Texas, of a unidentified flying object, and this was the reason for the shutdown. They speculate, allegedly.
That's crazy. So I actually had to pull to the side of the road, see if I could get a good shot of this. You can barely see it. Looks like a dot here, but it's actually huge. And there was stuff coming out from the bottom of it.
So was that the reason they shut down I don't know if that was the reason or not. But they're saying that this was in the area a few hours before. Project Bluebeam up next. Yeah. No. How about Project? How about Project? Cartels using drones to invade the United States of America and help deliver their drugs. So we start taking them out because we consider it an act of war. It could be that. The simplest answer is usually true. Project Brew being the projection of aliens in the sky with I don't know, some kind of hologram technology, which is the QAnon conspiracy theory, is probably the least likely event, in my opinion. But it could happen. Anything could happen, right? I'm looking for a particular video here, and I'm not finding it. Yeah, well, I'll come across it later to you. It's funny, but we'll get to it later. Got to move on. Spent enough time on it. Here's RFK. He's on I can't think of it, Theo's podcast, being interviewed, and he's talking about his addiction and how he's been clean for a long time, but he still goes to the meetings and all this kind of stuff.
Looking, Senator,
and it's a
the floor and try to get what they call unanimous consent, where they agree on the spot.
Okay, hold on a second. I got to figure out where that's coming from. I got more talking going on than is necessary. All right, there we go. Now let's try this again. Technical difficulties with Mike Cook. So here he is, and being in the embassy, I deal with a lot of people with addiction and stuff, and it's amazing the stories they tell.
We've been in recovery together for years.
You for almost over 40 years, right?
Yeah, 43 years.
Wow. That's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where we knew. That's where we met each other.
Yeah,
like 7 a.m. meetings above the bank over there. That was
They shut those down during COVID.
I know. That was heartbreaking. That was one of the most.
We still did live meetings every day during COVID. We moved from the bank. There was about 15 of us who moved from the bank, and we got into the Palisades Playhouse, which now is burned down during the fire. But it was kind of a pirate group, and for me, and I said this when we came in, and I said, I don't care what happens, I'm going to a meeting every day.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm not scared of a germ. I used to snort cocaine off of toilet seats. And I know this disease will kill me.
Right.
Like if I don't treat it, which means going to meetings every day, it's just bad for my life. So for me, it was survival. And then, that the opportunity to help another alcoholic, that's the secret sauce of the meetings. And that's what keeps us all sober and keeps us, from self-will.
Yeah.
So we now learn on the Patriot Mike, so you learn something every time you watch. You got to watch the Patriot Mike because you learn that you can use a toilet seat as a physical weapon in MMA fighting, and you can snort your cocaine off of them. See, the toilets are way more versatile than you ever thought. RFK's like, I'm not worried about no germs. I used to snort cocaine off toilet seats. I'm no cocaine snorter. I'm just saying, I've not had that issue. But you're in a house, assuming you have a toilet seat. And there's no other place you can snort your cocaine. You can't do it off the sink or the bathtub or the floor. Go out to the kitchen, maybe the kitchen counter, the toaster, the microwave. I don't know much about the cocaine. But the toilet seat would probably be, if somebody convinced me to snort cocaine, it would probably not be on the toilet seat. I'm just, I guess maybe after you do the cocaine a couple times, the toilet seat seems like a valid option. I guess I don't have any real world experience in this sort of thing, so I'll have to bow to the expertise of RFK Jr. on toilet seat cocaine snorting. Probably safe for this snorting off a hooker while holding a crack pipe and a gun in a hotel room in DC. I'm butt naked while filming oneself. They are hiding. Who's hiding? Or Parmesan cheese off the carpet. I'd rather snort the Parmesan cheese off the carpet than the cocaine off the toilet seat. I'm just saying. That's white on white crime. Look, not something I'm very experienced in, right? I took a leave today because I was hurting a little bit. That is probably the strongest thing I have ever taken. No, that's not true. One time I was feeling really bad. It was hurting really bad. And my wife had some, what are they called? The Tylenol 3s. What are those? Those are Tylenols with the codeine or whatever. And I took a half one of those and made me feel like crap, and I won't do it again. Anyways, cocaine users hiding in stalls. Oh, I get you. I see, my mind doesn't go there. I don't understand those sort of things. It's just not something I do. But you know, when I'm slamming them Diet Dr. Peppers, I'm really pushing it right here. I got my coffee with nothing in it and my lemonade. And that's what I need. That's what I got. There you go. And I did have my nitro today. So safe, healthy, and effective. Then there's this story. I don't know if you've seen this. This is out of Ohio State. A professor was being questioned about Epstein. I don't know if the guy's on the Epstein files or what it is, but a reporter is in the hallway asking questions. And this professor at Ohio State, well, he overreacted, I think. This is how you handle the press.
This one more. No. Whoa. Oh, God! I told you not to put that in my face. I didn't.
Dude, you can't do that.
You did. No, I'm not going to ask you again. Don't touch me. Don't touch me, motherfucker. Who the fuck put your hands on me, sir? You put your hands on me, sir. God damn, dude. You shoved that camera into my face, sir. This one more.
The dude did step into his personal space, but he didn't touch him. As a matter of fact, he was back. Anyways, if you want to get assault charges, that's how you get assault charges. Don't do that. By the way, he's no longer a professor at the school, so that's good. All right, so we had the Pam Bundy here, and there's more fallout from the Pam Bundy hearing coming. We'll talk about that in a minute. There may have been a massive play played by the Trump administration, but we'll get to that in a minute. He just left his toilet. The look on the guy's face when he realized someone was filming him. Oh, yeah. Busted. You've been on the Epstein list. You've been on the Epstein list. More to come. More to come on the Epstein list, by the way. We're going to talk about that here in a little bit. But first, there was hearings in the Senate over Minnesota and the fraud, and they had Mr. Ellison there. And, well, it was interesting. It was interesting. So here we go. Senator Johnson.
Because you encourage them to put themselves into harm's way. And now you're exploiting those two martyrs. That was a tragedy. It never should have happened. Now, we can investigate, but I can't imagine being a law enforcement official where I know my colleagues have been shot at, their vehicles rammed, that their trained activists deployed. And by the way, we know at least one of those activists had a semi-automatic pistol with extra clips. So now you're an ICE officer, you're doing enforcement action, you've got a team behind you trying to protect you, you've got all these.
First of all, Senator Johnson, it was a semi-automatic pistol, not an automatic pistol, with 2 extra magazines. These are the people that make gun laws, and he's a Republican.
Trained activists behind you. Is it any wonder they're at hair trigger alert? A tragedy was going to happen, and you encouraged it. And you ought to feel damn guilty about it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
He don't feel nothing.
Trained activists to put themselves into harm's way because you had to know, because you were watching this, that there were scuffles at least, that these people were obstructing justice. I would think you'd actually, as the chief law enforcement officer of Minnesota, be concerned about people obstructing justice. So, putting their cars in streets, blocking roads. I would think as chief law enforcement, you would be concerned about that. But were you ever concerned about encouraging, I guess, people to support you to go out and put themselves into harm's way
No,
by
we never,
impeding and obstructing
Okay,
illegal.
never mind. This is a
That
repeat.
ever concern you?
sir, that never happened. We all times
Wait.
said, if you want to protest, protest peacefully, protest safely. But you'll never find me being against the First Amendment.
Right now, but
I'll always be for the First Amendment.
You were seeing the scuffles, right? You were seeing and by the way, Minneapolis police officials could not help protect ICE officials, right? I mean, Representative Niska, isn't that when you're talking about the nullification of federal law, isn't that one of the, Hennepin County, that they simply could not help and protect ICE in their legal law enforcement actions?
The Minneapolis Police Department issued guidance in July saying that they would not even help with crowd control around.
So that's Senator Johnson and the folks from Minneapolis and law enforcement and ICE represented, and along with Ellis, who's the Attorney General, or Elias, and he's a dirtbag. Now here's Ron Johnson talking to Todd Lyons, who is the head of, he's the ICE director, and this is what he has to say.
So talk about the violence, the threats, the doxing against ICE officers. Because again, that's where people trying to enforce the law. They've been shot at. They've had their vehicles rammed, rocks thrown at their vehicles, doxed. On Central America, I found out that if you're becoming new police chief, you get a DVD from the friendly drug cartels with your children and wife going into school and going to church. It's an explicit threat. Hands off, or we're going to do something. Well, there's such a demand for unmasking ICE officers, but they've been doxxed. So just talk about the violence, the threats, the doxing that your law enforcement officers are really under.
So, sir, it's day to day. I was the field office director for the state of New England. I covered all of New England. And if you looked at the beginning of the operations, January 20th up until April, ICE officers and agents weren't masked. But it's bad. And I'll just use myself as an example. The week that Charlie Kirk was assassinated, there was a tweet that went out. It said, kill Charlie Kirk, kill there was another individual in that, kill Todd Lyons. That's the stuff that yesterday after the testimony on Tuesday, I went back to numerous death threats against my family. There was a videotape of my wife walking to work that people actively post. The cartels have actually posted the schematics to my home. ICE agents feel that every day. We actually did an operation with the Secret Service where we identified doxers who put up on telephone poles the home addresses and the schools where ICE officers and agents went to. But yet no one covered that operation. We covered that as a success. And I don't want my officers masked. I would work with this committee and any committee to work with holding individuals accountable that dox ICE agents, because ICE agents don't want to be masked. They're honorable men and women, but the threats against their family are real.
Okay, thank you.
Now remember, you got Eric Swalwell crying before Pam Bunny. Oh, they threatened to kill me. I don't know what to do. Will you help me, please? You got Marjorie Taylor Greene resigning because they were going to kill her children. And then they're all going, demask ICE. Of course, same people that screamed, demask ICE, were screaming for us all to put masks on or we're all going to die just a few short years ago. Huh, that's weird. They used to call us names because we wouldn't wear masks and get vaccinations. Used to call us conspiracy theorists. Oh, by the way, have you seen, speaking of conspiracy theorists, have you seen what has come out lately? There's been 40-year-old movies, all these people dying of cancers. Dr. Malone said about a year ago that about 3 or 4 years in, you're going to start seeing people all over the place dying of these weird cancers that are come up. And did you see the release that came out that said that they did a study of 8 million people on these cancers that have popped up since the vaccinations? And they're saying that on the biopsies of the cancer cells, they're finding the mRNA vaccine or the mRNA little chromosome thing, the marker, whatever it's called. I'm not a doctor, and I didn't play one on television, nor did I stay in a Holiday Inn Express last night. But why do protesters wear masks? Because they're afraid of the germs, because they never smoked crack cocaine off a toilet seat with RFK. That's what. Anyways, yeah, it's people. Look, Robin Bullock prophesied a couple years ago, and one of the things was back before God chastised me on using prophecy to predict the future. But one of the things was, I always think when they say this stuff, it's like right now, right now, right now, right now. But it's not right now. It's never right now. Turbo cancer. That's the word I was looking for. It's not right now. That's not the way God works. But one of the things that Robin Bullock said is that 8 plagues have passed. This was like 2 years ago in October. 8 plagues have passed. 2 more are yet to come. And the last 2 plagues were darkness and death. We're according to like Dr. Malone and some of these other scientists, we are now into the 3 or 4 year phase to where these mRNA poisons that people injected into their body will start having dangerous effect with these cancers and other things that nobody expected. Grid down starvation. That's I don't know about all that, but okay, that's cool. Yeah, somebody's over on my YouTube channel saying Donald Trump's a pedophile. To which I say this: so, which other president released the Epstein files? That's all I got to say about that. Somebody go over to my YouTube account. You can't do it. I have to do it. I haven't set up moderators. I need to set moderators up over my YouTube account. It don't matter. It's probably the only person watching. Let me look. Let's see here. YouTube. Oh, there's 3 people over there. Over 1 million times. You're a moron. Let's see. Which president's in the YouTube? Everybody tell me which president's in the Epstein files more. Bill Clinton or Trump? Anyways, we'll move on. Fetterman decided, oh, wait. So let me talk about this real quick. So we passed the continuing res. You're wrong there, idiot. The guy over on YouTube, he's showing off how ignorant and stupid he is. He's one of the most ignorant and stupid people that I've had a chance to comment with, because you see, Epstein talked about how much he hated Trump. Trump talked about how much he hated Epstein, but they all loved each other, the rest of them. So, by the way, how come Thomas Massey hasn't released the names that he has? Why is he protecting the names of pedophiles? Moving on. I'm not you're okay, let me just say this, sir. Screenshot this or record this little section right here, okay? And come back to me next year and you could tease me. You're just making stuff up now 95,000 times. You're an idiot. Okay, hold on 1 second. Let me just say this, okay? When we find out what really went on, and we're going to, most of your friends, most of your folks are going to leave the country. They're going to self-deport, either the planet or the country. Oh. 950,000 times, you illiterate F. Do you realize what you're saying? Anyways, moving on. So the Democrats have voted no because the continuing resolution they passed a few days ago, they only passed part of it, and they're going to shut down the government as of midnight tonight. and they voted no, and they're leaving the country. A bunch of Democrats are leaving the country to go over to Munich for a worldwide leaders summit, but it's only leftists, socialists, and Marxists, and the grand poobah of them all just arrived there. You'll see who that is with her security and everything. That's right. That's Hillary Rodham Clinton. Why is Hillary Clinton going over to a leadership? Define socialism, you dumb fuck. Okay, sir, I'll define socialism. The means of production and the means of distribution are controlled by the government, which is what we have here in this country right now. But the problem is we have a commo-fascist government. It's fascist in that the government controls the corporations. That's fascism. Like Ferdinand Porsche working with Adolf Hitler. And it's communism because we have an uncontrolled bureaucracy that makes all the decisions. But there's Hillary Clinton over there. I don't know. Maybe we should maybe we should look into that. You're an idiot. Okay, moving on. Because I got time. I'm going to stop. All right, so here's John Fetterman. Anyways, Hillary Clinton's over there in Munich with all of the leaders going to discuss the things that need to be discussed to save the world from Donald Trump and such.
You know, I met with Secretary Noem, and I've always treated her with respect. I met with her in my office, and I refused, and I never will engage on the kinds of sexist kinds of terms like Ice Barbie from a lot of the left media will use those kind of things. And now I said, hey, I'm a Democrat, then I say, secure our border? Yeah. And deport all of the criminals? Yeah. You know, I think we can sign up on that. And then my friend, Katie Britt, came to me and said, we want to bring the Laken-Riley bill there. And I'm like, yeah, I was going to be the Democrat to bring that there. And now we the co-sponsor as the Democrat.
So there's Fetterman talking and making sense, which just confuses me. I mean, the guy with brain damage is the only one in the Democrat Party that can talk and make sense. Now, here is Senator Bernie Morano, Republican Ohio. Morano, I don't know if I'm saying his name right. And he asks Ellis a question.
Not a big shot lawyer like you. Just a quick question. If you enter the country illegally or you overstay a visa, should you be deported?
My simple answer is, sir, it depends.
Okay. So if somebody breaks into your home, should they be arrested for breaking and entering, or does it depend?
It's an entirely different scenario.
How's that?
Because immigration is essentially a civil, and the breaking into my home is a criminal matter.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So if there's laws that should be enforced, so we shouldn't enforce civil violations?
We absolutely should enforce them.
But you just said that it's a civil matter, so it's different. So if somebody
you enforce civil matters.
So if somebody commits a civil infraction, it shouldn't be enforced?
It should be.
Okay, so they should be deported.
No, they should have due process that is associated with their petition. So
okay,
for example,
so the act of entering the country illegally, you think we should say, well, did you really do it or not do it? It's pretty obvious that they did, right?
Well, I mean, it would depend on the facts of the situation. And then
So there's asking a very simple question. A very simple question. And that is, if they enter the country, are they criminals? Well, yeah, but we don't need to enforce that. How about if we break into your house? Oh, we have to enforce that. That's different. This is what you call a logic problem. It's the same thing. We're only supposed to enforce the crimes we want to enforce. That's what's going on here. So what happened in Minnesota is reprehensible. It's terrible what happened in Minnesota. With all of the crimes that they did in Minnesota, stealing billions and billions and billions of dollars. And by the way, it's not just in Minnesota, it's everywhere. I was talking with a friend of mine last night that is in Central Missouri and is in the medical field. He's not a doctor, he's an administrator type. And he was talking about hospice. And he said that you get people who want to be on hospice. Their family wants them to be on hospice, but the doctor says you're not ready for hospice yet because you're not dying. And he says, so the hospice at the hospital that he works at won't do anything. So they go to one of these hospice companies, and the hospice company gets their doctor to go, bloop, yep, you're dying, and puts them on it and makes a bunch of money doing it from the government. It's happening everywhere. Everywhere it's happening. And the thing is that particular hospital, they shut down their hospice because they didn't want to play the game. They didn't want to play the game on hold on a second, I'm doing something. They didn't want to play the game on trying to manipulate the system so they could make more money. That's what they're doing. That's what they're doing all over the place. Is they're just stealing stuff. Now, I've got one more, I think, on this. Let me just make sure. Yeah, I got one more on this hearing, and that's this one. So Josh Hawley straight up takes down, destroys Mark Elias. And Mark Elias perjures himself in this statement.
Mr. Ellison, let me start with you. You're the Attorney General of the state of Minnesota. Do I have that correct? That's a yes?
Sir, you're aware of my job. You know the answer to that.
You're not going to answer my questions? Are we going to start this way? Are you the Attorney General of the state of Minnesota? Yes or no?
You know the answer.
Mr. Ellison, you're in my courtroom now. You're under oath. So I suggest that you answer my questions. You the Chief Law Enforcement Officer of the state of Minnesota? Yes or no? Let's try another question. Are you familiar with the $9 billion in historic fraud out of your state, including the $250 million in the Feeding Our Future program alone? Are you familiar with that? Don't turn to the pages in your book to get your potted answers. Are you familiar with it? Yes or no?
Yes, I am familiar with it.
Very familiar, aren't you? Because the people who ran the Feeding Our Futures program came to you in your official office in the state capitol December 11th, 2021, and asked for your help in getting investigators off their backs. They complained to you for upwards of an hour about state investigators going after them, and they begged you to help them, and you agreed to it, amazingly. And we know you did.
That's not
because
true.
It's all caught on tape.
Yeah,
every single sentence is caught on tape. Here's what you said. Let's
And
take a look.
obviously
You said, it's not a question. You said to them, send me the names of all these folks who are investigating them. You said to them, send me their names. And I'll take that list and I'll call the person over at education who is investigating them and say, what's going on? Why am I getting these complaints? Then he went on to say, I already have my team working on this. What day should we get together to discuss it again? You made pledge after pledge to them. You said, we've got to make sure this guy who's investigating them stops it. You said, you have my attention. I'm concerned about this. You said, let's go fight these people, meaning the people who were investigating the fraud. Why'd you do it? Why'd you help them?
Are you going to let me answer?
Please, we're all ears.
So first of all, you're cherry picking quotes out of there.
Why did you help them?
I thought you were going to let me answer.
Why did you
Are you
help
going to let me answer?
Why did you help
You
them?
let me answer and I'll answer you.
Tell the truth and I'll let you answer.
I will tell the truth.
Good.
Let's do that.
That'd be a nice change. Why'd you help them?
Now see, Mr. Chairman, I didn't come here to be insulted. I came here voluntarily.
You came here for the truth. Let's have it. Why did you help them? The quotes are here. They're in black and white, and every member of this audience can listen to the recording. It's 54 minutes long. It's all in public. You can Google it right now and listen to it.
And listen to it
Why'd
all.
you help them?
First of all, I didn't help them.
You did help them.
No, I did not. I certainly didn't.
You're saying you didn't do anything for them. You didn't.
Well, wait a minute.
I already have my team working on this again. That's not you.
I have
ventriloquist?
my team assisted with the information that led to the prosecution and conviction of these people.
No, you didn't. You didn't lift a finger to prosecute them. No, you did not.
No,
You didn't
because
lift a finger
it
to
was a
prosecute
federal
them. You had
prosecution.
BS. You had whistleblowers come to you as early as 2019.
You're the one talking BS.
Hey, listen, it's my time.
Doesn't know what you're talking about.
Oh,
sir.
No, sir. You
You're
now
the
have
one
encountered the truth and you don't like it. Why'd you take their money? Why'd you take their money?
I didn't.
You took
$10,000. No, that's a false statement.
$10,000 9 days after the meeting.
False statement.
You took $10,000. Here's what happened. They went to your office. They solicited money from you. They solicited help from you.
That's also wrong.
They came to your office. It was your official office. You met with them for 54 minutes.
No,
they asked you for help. You pledged it to them, and they talked repeatedly about money. In fact, it's all they talked about. Money, 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 money. They said, we will put our dollars in the right place. We will support candidates that will fight to protect our interests. You replied, that's right. They said, if you are securing your donor base and securing your power base, you can act the way you want. You replied, money is freedom. They said the amount of money circulating, I'm reading the transcript, the amount of money circulating in our community today is powerful, and we haven't realizing it in a meaningful way. And you said, give me the specifics. And 9 days later, you took $10,000 from people who were then indicted. It's in your reports. Why'd you do it?
Sir,
was it worth it?
You know what? This is a theatrical performance.
This is the truth. This is what accountability looks like, of which you've had none. You helped fraudsters defraud your state and this government of $9 billion, and you got a fat campaign contribution out of it. You ought to be indicted.
True. Well,
that's the truth.
I think we've made the point. Let's keep the tenor.
Well, for the record,
I'll ask how I
he's lying, and that's the truth.
Oh no, this is all on the record,
no, sir.
Did you bother Did you bother to investigate where the money that you facilitated their fraud for, where it went? Do you know where it went, what it was used for, the fraudulent money? I do, because we just heard testimony about it yesterday.
Because we were key players in the
hundreds of millions of dollars to terrorist groups, to transnational criminal organizations, to the drug trade, to drug trafficking, to child trafficking. And you took $10,000
That's a lie.
And helped them do it. You know, the other thing is whistleblowers came to you as early as 2019. Let's look. As early as 2019, whistleblower. Don't talk over me. As early as 2019, it's my hearing, pal. As early as 2019.
Don't call me
whistleblowers came to, well, I should call you prisoner because you ought to be in jail.
Well, we'll see what you can do.
In 2019, whistleblowers came to you in your office and referred to you fraud allegations from Feeding Our Futures, and you blew them off. Listen, your own state newspaper investigated it. The Minnesota Star Tribune, the Partners in Nutrition, brought its concerns to the Attorney General's office in 2018 and in 2019, and you did nothing. You did nothing for years. The only action you took is, once all these fraudsters came to your office and asked you to get involved and offered you money, then you got involved. Then you took the money, and then you got involved.
They did not come to my office. You're completely wrong about that.
You met with them
I did
for
not take anybody's money.
minutes, and you took $10,000, and they also gave your family money. They gave your family thousands of dollars in campaign contributions in addition to what they gave
false
you.
Statement.
Let's put the
this is completely untrue.
The New York Post.
Yeah, we know the New York Post.
Minnesota Keith Ellison, AG, accepted campaign donations from individuals linked to the $250 million COVID fraud scheme after they were in your office. The donations came on December 20th.
Sir,
you met with them on December the 11th, and on January 20th, the FBI knocked over their headquarters.
No.
That's the sequence of events here.
No, it's not.
You've been right at the center of this fraud thing from the beginning, and you've enabled it. And sir, you should resign.
And sir, you should resign. I was thinking the same thing about you.
You should resign.
You notice how he tried to pull the Pam Bundy stuff, but just couldn't pull it off? You notice how he's smug at first, At the first part of it was 6 minutes long. At the first part of Josh Hawley's interrogation, because that's what it was, he was all looking down his nose at him. But at the end, he was squirming. Because the truth be told, that he gave deposition when questioned about this. He's made sworn statements about this already. And somebody in the comment section says, Pam Bundy should do something about this. They are. The individuals that Josh Hawley's pointing out that he received money from, that he was working with, have all been prosecuted. This was last summer. They went to jail. Several of them pled guilty. Some of them were convicted in front of a jury, and they went to jail for 20 or 30 years. Mr. Illison, however you say his name, is going to self-deport. That's all I got to say about that. Now, everybody who's upset right now, everybody who's upset right now at Pam Bundy and at Donald Trump because of the Epstein files and all that other nonsense. I told you, I'd been very consistent on this since the summertime, that when Donald Trump came out and said that it was all fakes, it was all a hoax, that he knew exactly what he was doing. He got these people kicking and screaming, reacting. Oh my God, Epstein, 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 like they're calling for Beetlejuice. He got all the usual suspects to get out there screaming. All the people, all the sellout people who were never Trumpers to begin with on the so-called mega side, screaming for the Epstein files. The Epstein files, they wanted them to release the Epstein files that were held in the Southern District of New York by James Comey's daughter, because everybody knew about those files. Let me say that again real slow for the trolls over on YouTube. Everybody knew those files, seen those files, knew the people named in them files, knew what them files were all about, redacted all the names that mattered out of the files, and added other names into the files. Everybody knew that those files held in the Southern District of New York by James Comey's daughter. Everybody knew those files. Everybody. Let me say that. You understand what I'm saying? Marjorie Taylor Greene knew those files and what was in those files. Never said a damn thing until Donald Trump became president again. Thomas Massey, Rand Paul, Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, everybody. Barack Hussein Obama, Michelle Obama, Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, the Bushes, all of them. Mitch McConnell, Chucky Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries, AOC. You name it, they knew what was in those files. That's why they wanted them released, because the files were whitewashed. Because they were in the Southern District of New York, one of the most politically compromised districts in the country. And they were going, release the files, 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 like a broken record. All summer long, all through the government shutdown. Everybody said release the files. Then on December 19th, they passed a bill, and it went to the president, and he signed it to release the files. They made a law. They made a law that says you got to release those files out of the Southern District of New York. We want them all. Then on December 24th, Donald Trump and his administration announced, golly, Shazam. I don't know where it came from. We just found millions and millions of more files, like in a burn bag or something. And everybody went, oh, shh. And from December 24th until Pam Bundy stood before or set before Congress to answer their questions, not a one of them said a damn thing about the Epstein files. Why? Why did all of a sudden, no, we don't want to talk about, no, we don't want to talk about those files. We want to talk about the files out of New York, not these million files that Donald Trump mysteriously found somewhere. Where'd they come from? Nobody wanted to talk about it all of a sudden. Why? And then the judge ruled, another judge ruled, overruling the ruling of the judge that they were in control of, that you could release the files, you could release the evidence, the grand jury testimony in the Maxwell case. And so all through December, the first week of January, second week of January, the third, it's just over on CNN and MSNBC, they're talking about everything but Epstein. Anything and everything they could talk about but Epstein. And then Pam Bundy shows up, and that circus happened. Laura Logan said this. Isn't it ironic that the only president who has released any of the Epstein files is the one being accused of a cover-up? To the moron idiot who can't answer me because I blocked him over there on YouTube. Has anybody else released any Epstein files? Did Bill Clinton? Did Barack Obama? Did George W? Did Pedo Joe? Sleepy Joe? Did any of them release any of these? They all knew about it. Some of them were involved in it. They all had these files, all of them. As a matter of fact, the files that Donald Trump found, just out of nowhere, were buried away where no one was supposed to ever. In fact, I think they were in a burn bag. They were supposed to have been burnt up, so you would never know. It's almost like nobody else wanted to talk. Let me tell you something. It wasn't Marjorie Taylor Greene that released these files. It wasn't Thomas Massey, even though he said he had all the names. And I hereby demand that if Thomas Massey has the names, which he says that he has, or has said in the past, release the names, Thomas Massey. What are you hiding? Is it the Jews? Is it AIPAC? What are you hiding? Nobody released anything except for Donald Trump. And by God, Donald Trump's covering this up. If Donald Trump was in it, they could have released. Yeah, you're right. You're right. And that's just it. You don't think Barack Hussein Obama and Hillary Clinton in 2016, when they organized a coup against a sitting president of the United States of America in order to overthrow the government of the United States of America, if they had Donald Trump pedoing little children, that they wouldn't have put it out? I mean, these people committed seditious conspiracy against the United States of America. You don't think they would have done that? But no, they said nothing about. As a matter of fact, January of last year, it was an Anon conspiracy theory. Are you listening? All you people, Donald Trump's covering this up. Thomas Massey's right. Thomas Massey would have told you a year and a half ago that it was an Anon conspiracy theory. They all said it. Every single one of them.
And we have multiple.
And then Pam Bundy did his thing. Oh, let me just point, since we're on the Epstein stuff, Barack on Epstein. I regret meeting or getting caught, as this person changes it. Former Prime Minister Ehud Barak says he regrets ever meeting Jeffrey Epstein and admits he should have used more thorough judgment. In a Channel 12 interview, Barak confirmed he stayed in an apartment owned by Epstein after his conviction, saying he did not fully understand the nature of Epstein's crimes in 2019 and denies witnessing any wrongdoing. Let me point something out to you in case you don't understand. To all you Israel haters and to all you Bibi Netanyahu haters, Bibi Netanyahu has been prophesized just like Donald Trump. He's been called by Robin Bullock as a prophet of God. He's been declared as a prophet of God by Kim Clement. Ehud Barak is the Bill Clinton of Israel. He's the Barack Hussein Obama of Israel. He's a leftist, socialist, Marxist. He's supported by Barack Hussein Obama, by Hillary Clinton, by John Kerry, who served in Vietnam. He's supported by the United Nations. Just think about that for a second. Aaron says, beat you, Mike. I think we said it at the same time. So when you come against Bibi Netanyahu, understand that he is the Donald Trump of Israel, that he is ordained by God for such a time as this. And Ehud Barak is the opposition to that. He is the New World Order, World Economic Forum, Satanist cabal leader trying to take out who God has anointed. And I said it. Mike cooked soapbox. It's a Friday. It's supposed to be a light day. Need a little bit of lemonade to wet my lips after that. Now let's get to it. I've been beating around the bush. The George W. Okay, here it is right here. So yesterday, Pam Bundy was up there, or the day before yesterday, whenever it was. And boy, oh boy. Members of Congress demand DOJ stop tracking lawmakers' Epstein file searches. Attorney General Pam Bundy brought a document referencing Representative Primera Japalopoulos' search history to the House Judiciary Committee hearing on Wednesday. What? Say what? Let's just go. I'll explain in a minute. Just follow me. Just follow me here as we go down this yellow brick road to what's really, really going on. And this is going to be good. It's actually, I actually had to do more reading on this when I saw it this morning, because like this can't be. This has got to be. When I first read, what I'm going to show you in a minute, I was like, nah, this has got to be hopium hype BS. It can't be this real. It can't be this real. Here is Gutfeld on the Pam Bundy hearings.
What's going on over there? Also, and I hate to say it, a lot of these people are auditioning for my seat. Oh, and your seat too. Not yours, Dana. You're much too nice. But it's like, a lot of these people, like, they know that they're being filmed, and they're like, filmed. What year is this? Yeah. Back in the day, we had big cameras and kinescopes. Yeah, kinescopes. But it's like, so I think, a lot of that kind of gets them. Like, how did I do? How did I, like, everybody's like,
I know immediately because it gets small dollar donations, and that's what this is.
Yeah, but I do. Like, I also understand that these witnesses are finally responding with the respect these imposters deserve. It's like, I keep thinking, like, what would I do if I was there? I could not take any of those bozos seriously. And all they're doing is ideological target practice. So I'm sitting there and I'm supposed to go, yes, sir, no, sir. No, I'm just going to go, you're not real. I'm looking at Raskin. You're not real. You're a bot. You're no better than a bot. You're programmed by somebody else. I don't have to respect you. That's kind of what Besson's doing. Yeah. He's like sitting there going, right. Besson's face tells you that I'm so much better than you people are. It's not funny.
He's better. He's richer.
Yeah.
But if you don't interrupt,
he gets all the chicks.
Answer.
I mean, he can make the claim about the Dow at 50K.
Yes.
Right. The other thing, though, especially at the ICE hearing from the other day, it's that all of those guys, like Todd Lyons, they work 18 hours a day minimum. And they're looking at these guys who are just basically trying to yell at them so that they can get out of town and go raise more money.
But they leave no time to answer. So if you don't interrupt and say something,
So
you don't.
annoying.
It looks like you agree.
To be honest, I feel like it's a broken system, like the primary debates with 10 people. I think it's a broken system and it needs to be changed.
Okay.
We need a king.
Okay,
Right.
fine.
Yeah.
We have a king. His name's Jesus. Just saying. So that's this. We're getting there. Trust me, I'm building up to it. Trust me, I got it. I know where I'm going. I know where I'm going. So this is Yasam Asari, Democrat, Arizona. And she's mad about what Pam Bundy did to them.
I just walked out of the Department of Justice where I was able to look at some of the unredacted Epstein files. What I saw was incredibly disturbing and further emphasizes the fact that this is a massive cover-up by the Trump administration and the Trump DOJ, because there was...
Now, let me remind you, it's a massive cover-up by the guy that released it and allowed you to see it.
There were so many redactions that seemed extremely unnecessary. Something that I wanted to know that I'm very aware of is that we know we are being tracked when we are in there. Yesterday during Pam Bondi's hearing in front of the Judiciary Committee, she was actually caught with a binder where she had members of Congress and their specific search histories when they were in there, which is just absolutely appalling and ridiculous. So I'm aware that when I was in there with documentation of what I was going to look for, Pam Bondi and this corrupt DOJ are aware of that as well and are very much tracking that. We are not going to stop fighting until there is justice for every single victim and every single person who was harmed by Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, and so many others who enabled these crimes. There's a lot more out there. So much more needs to be investigated. The allegations in these files are deeply disturbing. So next week I will be traveling. There's an important deposition happening as part of our oversight committee investigation, and we'll continue to keep you posted.
Yeah, next week. Guess what deposition's happening next? There's an important deposition happening next week. Guess what deposition that is? Hillary Clinton. That's an important deposition, she says. So you say. Now here is Representative, I don't know how to, Parmela J. Palapalapalapalapalam. I don't know. Here's your Democrat, Socialist, Marxist, Communist Democrat. By the way, over there on YouTube, you troll. You wanted me to explain to you what a socialist is? Here, let me show you. There you go. There's a socialist. Listen to this. Listen. They expose it all here.
Can we put back on the screen what the Attorney General of the United States brought to the hearing today, specifically about the Congresswoman, because I think it's important. Congresswoman, were you aware that you were being, and not just you, it seems, but if they've tracked you, okay. I would believe it's
Pam Bundy had this document. Let's just look. They put it up on the screen, but I didn't talk. She had this document laid out. Remember when she went after her? This is what when Japalapalapala went and to the SCIF. These are the search. When she searched the Epstein documents, this is what she searched for. These are the words she typed in to the query she typed in new Brazilian just arrived, sexy and cute, 19 years old. By the way, 19 would not be a crime for the most part. I mean, sick, perverted, satanic crap, but not a crime if they're consenting. Thank you for a fun night. Your littlest girl was a little naughty. Thank you for a fun night. Your littlest girl was a little naughty. So she looked for that one twice. Kara did something another to Jeffrey Epstein. I found at least 3 very good young girls, but we were so tired. I will cover up this week. Meet this one, not the beauty queen, but we both likes her a lot. These are her searches in the skiff on the computer in the skiff that had the list. Epstein victim list, all redacted. I love to torture video from another person to Epstein. Child exportation of human trafficking task force PowerPoint on the Epstein traffic. I got to write something down here. Give me a second. Let's see. Something I want to get to later, and I won't do it. So, I love torture. See, child exploitation and human trafficking task force PowerPoint on Epstein trafficking. So this is her search. This is what they're upset about. Is that Pam Bundy had her search in a skiff. They're spying on her.
I would believe it's they tracked other people. So were you aware of this, one? And two, have you reached out to the Department of Justice, specifically the Attorney General's office, to follow up and ask, what the hell was that?
Well, I absolutely will be doing that. We're in the process of working on a letter right now. All of us.
Can I just say, because there are people watching that are going to say, they're always sending a letter. A letter is how you register.
That's how we register our dissent. But also, you might have seen that Mike Johnson even said he thought it would be completely inappropriate if it was true that the Department of Justice, I don't know what words he used, I'm going to use my words, was spying on us, because that's what this was. I mean, we have a separation of powers, which means that we need to be able to do our legislative duty, and for us to go in to review the Epstein documents and then to know that they have kept the search history of exactly what we searched for. And why was it that she brought that in her binder, which we call her burn?
So I got a question. What difference does it make about your search history? Why are you worried about your search? What about your search history makes you nervous?
Book, right? Was she going to use that against me? Did they get that document for every single person? And what were they going to do with it? We need a new process. That's what we're going to demand from the Department of Justice. That's what I'm going to tell Mike Johnson as well. When I get to speak to him, I left him a message on the way here, because we need a process where we know that the Department of Justice is not spying on us as members of Congress.
I mean, Congresswoman, listening to you say that, I have to imagine that all of your Republican colleagues who were so upset about Operation Arctic Frost and are apoplectic that a past DOJ was looking at their cell phone tower records, they must be standing with you now, right?
Wait, hold up. Wait a minute. Stop. That was just a conspiracy theory. There was absolutely no proof that the DOJ under Joe Biden with Mr. Smith looked into the histories and cell phones of city members of Congress, which by law is against the law. That they took FISA warrants that they lied on under Arctic frost to get those records. That was all a big conspiracy theory until MS Now just compared what Pam Bundy did to that. I thought that was fake. I thought that wasn't real. Oh, golly gee willikers. What'd you just say?
that all of your Republican colleagues who were so upset about Operation Arctic Frost and are apoplectic that a past DOJ was looking at their cell phone tower records, they must be standing with you now, right? In this question of whether or not the DOJ is supposed to be looking at things that you search.
Well, they certainly should be, Alicia. And as you know, I have worked with Republicans across the aisle who care.
I guarantee you, they're not talking about this, but I guarantee you, I don't know. I have no proof, no evidence, no secret source. But Mike, confirm or deny this. Marine in the Woods, confirm or deny this. You're the one that would know, not Mike. Mike might know too, but in a different source. When you go into a skiff, you sign a bunch of documents. Because, I'm sitting here on my cot. We were 5 miles from the Iraqi border. No, check that. We were a long way from the Iraqi border at this point. Out in the middle of the desert in Saudi Arabia. And the lieutenant walks in and says, "Cook, sign this." And I said, "What is it?" He says, "Shut up and sign it." And as I start, "Okay, sir," he goes, "It is top secret classified document because you're about to go on a classified mission." "Oh, okay. Yes, sir." And me and Specialist Danoff got in the wrecker. We went up with a bunch of tractors. We picked up a bunch of trailers. I can tell you what it is now, even though it was top secret classified, because it was on Discovery Channel years ago. It's part of the Gulf War. And we hauled beans, body bags, and bullets on S&P trailers. Took them up to strategic locations along the border with Iraq and Saudi Arabia along this road. We called it Tap Line Road. The road was wide enough that you could get 2 semi-trucks past each other, and it was like a 4-foot drop on each side of the road with no shoulder. 2 semi-trucks past each other if you pull in the mirrors. I mean, literally, that's how close it was. And we went up, dropped trailers, went back, picked up more trailers, went up, dropped trailers. We did that for like a week and a half. Top secret stuff. It was preparing for the big shift that happened, and then that's a whole long story. But in a skiff, before you go in, you sign a stack of documents that says everything in here is top secret. You can't bring anything in. You can't take anything out. You can't record anything. And everything. I guarantee you, in those documents, in the small print, which they didn't bother to read, because how many of you signed up in the military? Initial here, sign here, right? They went. They couldn't wait to get in there, get the dirt on Trump. Fine. Next page, sign. Next page, sign. Next page. And multiple. I bet you'll stack this thick. That's the way the government does it. They signed, and then they walked into the room and they signed away. They said there's trackers on the computer in that document somewhere that they signed away. I guarantee it. I guarantee it's in there. I used to go into the skiff, inside the skiff. What you access is monitored, right? So he's a skiff inside a skiff, and you had to sign in each time, right? They don't leave any of this to chance when you get into these places. Let's continue.
A lot about civil liberties, about spying of the Department of Justice and the government on Americans. This is certainly an example of that. And so I hope that every single person, Republican and Democrat, says this is not appropriate. It has to stop. We need a full accounting, first of all. I want to know what search history she collected. Why did she collect that? Why did they keep that? And what were they
going to find out?
I want a new process because I still have documents to review, and I don't want to know that the Department of Justice is spying on me and going to use that against me? She came with that in her burn book. So was she going to pull that out and somehow question me about which emails I looked at? It's really creepy. And every American should be creeped out by the fact that the Department of Justice is spying on members of Congress.
You know what's really creepy is that Jay Papalopoulos, whatever her name is, research specific people's names in reference to Epstein. Who are those people? What did they know and when did they know it? And what did you know and when did you know it?
It's creepy, it's inappropriate, but it's what?
Let me remind you that this piece of crap right here, Michael Steele, used to be the head of the GOP. You want to know why the GOP sucks?
inappropriate people do. This in one sense, Pam Bondi is no better than the soup she's in.
Yeah.
And that soup is made every day by Donald Trump and his behavior, the instructions and the directions he gives them. The Justice Department of America doesn't act as on its own in this administration.
No.
Unlike we've seen in other administrations.
Any administration.
This would be an affront to the process and the dignity of the men and women who serve in the building.
Yeah.
They don't care about any of that. So that part of it for me.
These are people who record themselves doing Brokeback Mountain in Senate office chambers. There's no dignity.
And it is something that I'm hoping you expose a little bit more of, because I know you will.
Yeah,
I know
we
you
will for sure.
But I want to go back to the beginning.
Yeah.
I want to go back to the moment that throughout this hearing stuck with me more than anything else that Pam Bondi did as the Attorney General of the United States. Her absolute refusal to acknowledge the victims, the women standing behind her, who for some time have been trying to get her to meet with them.
Yeah.
She still won't meet with them.
Yeah.
Largely because Donald Trump doesn't want them to, Simone. That's the reality here at the table.
Yeah.
Oh no, we got a commercial. Oh no. Got to do the salt trick.
Talk a little bit about what it took for those women to stand there.
Yeah.
Because I know you indicated that there were, you said, okay, to the extent that you're comfortable to raise your hand, do so.
Yeah.
These people, this idiocracy that's running this investigation, fundamentally doesn't understand the impact they're having on these women at this moment.
That's exactly right. And look, these survivors are so incredibly courageous. I mean, I move to tears every time I think about them, because they have gone through so much already at the hands of Jeffrey Epstein and his predator, pedophile, sex trafficking ring. And they are still coming forward and talking about it, not just because they want closure for themselves. They do, absolutely. But because they know it matters to all the other survivors who are out there that were part of Jeffrey Epstein's ring, but also anyone else who has been the victim of sexual assault. And so they have talked about this, and I've spent a fair amount of time with them. And I just can't say enough about what it means to have them willing to speak out, to have them willing to be in that room. I talked to them about what it would feel like, right? Because each time this is a re-traumatization. And especially when their personal details were revealed, their names, their numbers, their phone, their email addresses, their actual addresses, also nude photos. I mean, they put out without
And you all want him to release the nude photos.
Put out all the information about these. And it wasn't just the 32 victims that were on the list. There were Jane Does who for decades have had their identities concealed that were outed because of the way that this Department of Justice released that information. And there are people all around the world. There are women all around the world who are being harassed by their own, people in their own countries, right? In countries that are not very friendly on this issue. And this is a global ring. So there are a lot of people that were involved in this, as you saw even from one of the emails that I showed today, that are in other countries that were trafficking in or part of this ring. So I wanted them to know I was going to.
As she talks about this ring that a year and a half ago, it was a conspiracy. It was an anon conspiracy theory that there was no ring of people trafficking people or children or whatever around the world. Now, all of a sudden, they're admitting it's real. Just remember that Miss Jalapalapalapala, whatever her name is, and Thomas Massey, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and Chucky Schumer, and Hakeem Jeffries, and the rest of them were all telling us that it was a conspiracy theory and it wasn't real. And now, all of a sudden, they're telling us it is real. It's Donald Trump's fault. So here's what this is all leading up to. To you trolls, You probably want to stop watching before I read this part. You need to go back to sleep, sleep away in your bliss. You probably don't want to watch this part. Mr. Poole on X makes an excellent point about what just happened here. You got to understand, I have been saying, have I not? Everybody who's watched my show, that the reason how come there hasn't been any arrest? Because Donald Trump told them not to. Kash Patel said on day one, because Donald Trump told him not to. That's why. Donald Trump is controlling all of this. So let's read what Mr. Poole posted. Pam Bundy just played the greatest trap in political history, and Congress walked right into it. Yesterday, Attorney General Pam Bundy set before the Judicial Committee standard overnight hearing, routine questions. She pulled out a document labeled Japalapalapalapala. Search history. The room went silent. Here's what happened. The DOJ gave Congress access to the unredacted Epstein files this week. Every member got their own login, their own computer, their own session. What Congress didn't know, the DOJ was tracking every single search. Every name they looked up, every document they opened, every file they downloaded, all of it logged. And Pam Bundy brought the hearing. The panic was instant. Jayapal called it spying on members of Congress. Ratskin accused Bondi of blatant abuse of power. Mowalski said it was suspicious and inappropriate. They're furious. But here's the question nobody in the media is asking. Why are they so scared of their search history? Really? I mean, what does it matter? They're all innocent, right? Right? If you're searching for evidence of crimes against children, you'd be proud of that search history. Unless you're not searching for evidence, unless you're searching for your own name or somebody's name you're trying to protect. The genius of the trap. Think about it. Bondi didn't release the files. She released them on monitored computers. Every Congress member who rushed to search the files just told the DOJ exactly who they were trying to protect, what names they're worried about, which connections they're trying to verify. You see, let me stop right there and let me remind you of what I just told you in my timeline a minute ago, that on December 21st, they said, we just found more files. Nobody knows what was in those files until yesterday. Nobody knew what was in those files. They knew for sure what was in the files from the Southern District of New York. But the million or so files, a couple million, however many it was, on December 24th, that the Trump administration said, go holy, look what we just found. They didn't know what was in those files. They had no idea what was in those files. The reason that Hillary and Hillary delayed their testify before Congress until after those files was released, because they didn't know what was in those files either. I'm telling you, this is bigger than you think. That's why they're freaking out. That's why they had to go search to see, oh my gosh, is that one thing? Is those things that I've been covering up? Is those things that I've been hiding? Are they in these files? The ones searching for flights to the island, investigators. The ones searching for specific names, protectors. Bondi now knows who's investigating and who's covering up. And she showed them she knows in front of a camera with a smile. The DHS shutdown, perfect timing. While Congress panics about their search history, DHS is shutting down Saturday because the Democrats are all leaving to go to Munich with Hillary Clinton for a worldwide governmental leaders summit. Democrats blocked the funding bill. House members already left Washington. That's what I'm saying. The same week Congress gets caught searching Epstein files, they refuse to fund the department that investigates trafficking. They're not defunding DHS to save money. They're defunding to stop the investigations. Connect the dots. Monday, Congress gets Epstein file access. Tuesday, members frantically search for names. Wednesday, Bondi reveals she's tracking everything. Thursday, Democrats block DHS funding. Friday, government shutdown begins. 5 days, one pattern, panic. They walked into the hearing thinking they were in control. They walked out knowing Bondi has everything. Logged, documented, and weaponized. The hunter became the hunted, and they did it to themselves. Maybe they won't come back. It's possible. I mean, that is a possibility. I don't know. But they did this. They did all of this to themselves. They set themselves up, hook, line, and sinker. And they're getting screwed. They're getting destroyed in the process. There's so much going on right now. You know, let me pull this down. There's so much happening right now. It's almost unbelievable how far things have gone, how much information is coming out. Let me just show you this. This is James Comey. What's going on with Ilhan Omar?
This is a simple question. It shouldn't take long to answer. Reporters are trying to ask her the questions, and she just walks by and won't answer questions. But she finds enough time to tweet something absurd like that and compare her beloved Somalia to the United States like it's a superior country. If she likes Somalia so much, she should go back to Somalia. And I can tell you, with what we're investigating in Minnesota and the depositions and transcribed interviews that we're getting right now as we speak with the whistleblowers in the Minnesota state employees union that have been dealing with these social programs, it's really bad, the amount of Somali fraud in all the different welfare programs. So Ilhan Omar really needs to keep her mouth shut.
I told you before, Ilhan Omar is not going to be deported. She's going to go to jail for a long, long time. And she'll probably share a cell or have a neighboring cell with Mark Elias, because they're up neck deep in all of this crime and corruption. And, you know, Tim Walz is mad. They announced the other day that they're wrapping up their deal in Minnesota and they're moving on to somewhere else. Tim Walz wants you, the taxpayer, to pay for all the damages done in Minnesota. Well, Timmy, you're going to go to jail too.
The federal government needs to pay for what they broke here. There are going to be accountability on the things that happen, but one of the things is the incredible and immense costs that were borne by the people of this state. The federal government needs to be responsible. You don't get to break things and then just leave without doing something about it. So we're going to be asking the federal delegation to be investing and doing the things necessary.
He wants the federal taxpayers to cover the billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars of fraud. Look, Tim, you guys got enough money from us. We're not giving you any more. It's your fault. Marine asks, why do House members go to global leader summits when they're responsible to their constituents? Why is Hillary Clinton at a global leader summit? She's not a leader. She's a private citizen. That's the question that went through my mind. Why is she there? What does she have to do with it? And then we got the SAVE Act, which is really, the SAVE Act is the difference between the saving the United States of America and the destruction of the United States of America. It literally is the end all be all. If the SAVE Act doesn't pass, we lose America. That's where we're at. Here's Scott Jennings on CNN.
Oh, if we look
What,
at
the SAVE Act?
the SAVE Act,
We're
that's
gonna
exactly
talk
what
about
we're
SAVE
talking about.
Al,
That is
Al,
actually going to continue to
Al.
disenfranchise
Al.
overwhelmingly a lot of people of color.
Al.
There are so many civil rights organizations that have run the data. If we look at the way that it is going to disenfranchise Black voters, it's the same reason why Chuck Schumer called
Al.
it Jim Crow 2.0.
So,
This is the same president.
Al,
If we want to
You
continue,
haven't said how yet.
I am talking about it. It's
How?
the way that you're putting new poll taxes on this when you're making
Poll
people
taxes?
have. That's what we can call them now. It's kind of an idiom, right? If you want to say that people have to prove that they are citizens, that they have to prove with a voter ID. The reality is you're layering what is a constitutional right for the American people and making it harder for people to vote in this country. And it's going to disenfranchise Black voters.
Concern you that you're making all these claims? You've yet to lay out how it's hurting anyone, but 76% of Black voters think we should show an ID to vote. 80% of Hispanic voters, 83% of the American people. Are you saying that Black voters
The
are
SAVE
too
Act
dumb to
isn't
know
just,
what's good for them? I
the
mean, it
SAVE Act
sounds
isn't
pretty,
just about
it sounds pretty condescending
just
to
to be
me.
clear,
That's
the
not
SAVE
three,
Act
you
is
get
not just
three-quarters of
about
Black voters
IDs.
That's not
who want
right.
voter IDs.
But to be
not-
clear, the SAVE Act
that's
is
your
not
putting
just
words in my
about
mouth.
IDs. The SAVE Act is about
So what?
proof of citizenship.
So what?
So it doesn't. I actually. I
It
mean,
also makes it very
talked-
hard for
we've
for
talked about
married
this.
women who've
I
changed
was
their
just going to
last
say,
name.
we
This is
talked
all
about this
young
before.
people, by the way.
It's not. It actually, there's an argument to be made that red state voters, women, poor white voters could be just as.
I know you think they're dumb too, don't you?
Young
I mean, that's the
voters?
thing. I hear
Nobody-
these,
nobody
I
thinks
hear
they're
these
dumb.
arguments. I've
Scott,
heard
hold on,
Democrats all
hold on,
week long.
Scott.
No,
Please don't. No. You listen.
There's a deflection from talking about Donald Trump's racism
I'm actually
right
talking.
there.
You should be thinking about your constituents or your
Yeah, I think they're smart
your
enough to figure out how to
colleagues in
register to vote.
Kentucky.
Abby.
Hold on. Most Americans don't have a passport. Many Americans don't have access to their birth certificate. Many women, a majority of women who change their names for marriage
listen,
have to provide additional proof
all
that
week
they've
long,
changed their
all
legal
week long,
names in
I have
order to
heard-
register to vote.
I have heard
So
Democrats
Scott, why
make
don't
these
you
same
actually
arguments.
respond
Right.
to the substance of what I'm saying?
I am, and the
as
substance
opposed
is
to
this.
making
You're
this about
saying-
something that it's not.
You're
It's
saying
not just
you're
about
saying
voter ID.
married
It's
women,
also about
Black
who has
voters,
access
and rural people are
to.
too stupid to figure out how to
Excuse
register to
me?
vote.
No,
that's not- that is not what
Democrats have been
she
making
said.
this
That is
argument
so
all
offensive.
week. It's
That's
crazy.
That's not what she said.
Are you saying they can't figure out how to vote?
He just blew that whole thing up.
The exact same argument.
That's exactly what they're saying. I mean, here's the problem. These are superficial people, right? These are they don't dive into the water. They're right on the surface. If we pass the SAFE Act, the people won't be able to vote there because they won't have a license or an ID there. So what are you saying? Well, if we pass the SAFE Act, it'll make it too hard for people to figure out how to vote because I can't think any further than that because it destroys my position. And he says, so you're telling me that married women, that Black people and Hispanic people and poor people and rural people are all too stupid to figure out how to get an ID. Do you remember when they were saying a year or so ago that they didn't know how to operate computers and that Black guy made the TikTok video of him walking around on all four like a monkey kicking a computer around? That's exactly what they're saying. What they're really saying is this, though. We can't have voter ID because we moved 40 million people from third world countries into this country so that they could vote for us. And that we're a less than 20%. We're less than 20% party. That nobody's going to vote for us but the pink-haired, whistleblowing, crazy lesbians in Minnesota. So we got to replace them with people who are not American citizens and cannot vote. So we have to make a pathway for them to vote. And if you demand that we prove American citizenship in order to vote, well, then that's going to disenfranchise the 40 million illegal aliens we brought into this country. That's what they're saying. Whether they like it or not, that's what they're saying. Here is Brandon Gill. congressman. I think he's congressman. Yeah, Representative Brandon Gill on Fox.
Get on a plane, you have to use an ID and show proof of your birth to play in Little League Baseball. I mean, this is nothing new. Americans are used to showing IDs. What we're saying is that you should also have to show an ID before you can cast a vote in our election system. And we also recognize that this is particularly relevant after 4 years of open borders, whenever Joe Biden let 15 to 20 million illegal aliens into the country who very easily could be voting in our elections in multiple blue jurisdictions who do not require proof of citizenship. So again, this is as common sense as it gets. There's nothing racist, there's nothing discriminatory about it, and the American people can see that on its face.
Yep. And Tarred and Feather, in his usual doomer statement, rhinos in the Senate have not been properly greased yet. They're not going to vote for him. The 50 Republicans. 50. That means, listen. 50 Republicans have co-sponsored the bill. 50. That means that if the 50 who have said they're going to vote for it and co-sponsored it vote, and everybody else votes no, including Mitch McConnell, that's a 50-50 in the Senate. What happens, ladies and gentlemen, if there's a 50-50 in the Senate? There's only 100 of them. What happens if there's a 50-50 in the Senate? Anybody know? I know. Who breaks the tie? Tard, do you know who breaks the tie? I'm just curious if you're living up to your name or not. Well, the first part of your name. Somebody tell me who breaks the tie in the Senate when it's 50 people. 50 people, 50 senators have co-sponsored the bill. It's going to pass. That's right. Fat JD. That's right. JD Vance is the tiebreaker as president pro tem of the Senate. I don't know if he's pro tem. I think he's just president of the Senate. The vice president breaks the tie in the Senate. So guess what that means? The SAVE Act will pass. The SAVE Act will pass. It's just a matter of when Turd Bag Thune brings it to the floor. That's it. It will pass when it gets there. Probably another week or so, but it will get there and it will pass. 100%. It's a done deal. The president will sign it. It will become law. And then things are really going to start blowing up. Things are really going to get exciting because what happens now is everybody has to show ID to vote in the federal. Now, if New York City and LA and San Francisco want to keep it so that they can vote for mayor, that you don't need ID to vote for mayor, they can do that. That's not a problem. No problem. We can have go ahead and vote an import like Zoltron as mayor. That's fine. How's that working out for you? Have they picked up the trash yet in New York City? I'm just asking for a friend. I don't know. It is. We're in. Oh, by the way, did y'all see this? Everybody's we're going to lose the midterm. They're going to get done. First of all, we're not going to lose the midterms. It's going to be one day paper ballots with ID, and it may involve the National Guard. We're not going to lose the midterms. Number one. Number two. Since I've been following politics,
had a combined 320 million, roughly 137 million for the Democrats after accounting for debt. Okay, that's 2x right there, Carl, on screen.
Yeah, but no, that's
Carl Rove's a dirtbag. Since I've been following politics, 1989, 1990, 91, when I come back from the Gulf and I'm driving across the country and I'm flipping through the channel somewhere in New Mexico trying to find something to listen to, and I stumbled on Rush Limbaugh. When I started following politics, the Democrats have always had more money. The Democrats have always had more money than the Republicans. Always. Always. Except for now. The Republicans have more money. They have $300 and something million to the $100 and something million to the Democrats. And not to mention that Donald Trump has over $400 million in his personal war chest. So the Republicans have $800 million, give or take, for the midterm elections. And the Democrats have 100 or so million. And they got a bunch of debt. They're gonna, and here's the other thing, too. It's just like Kamala Harris showed, the Democrats don't know how to spend money. They just spend money. And, of course, you know, they bike these ad buys so that their family member could get the money, and they make millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars for themselves. But that's a whole nother story. Donald Trump whooped Kamala Harris. We're going to find out that it's true that he whooped Joe Biden, and he whooped Hillary Clinton, spending about a third in what they spent each time, because Donald Trump knows how to spend money. Donald Trump knows how to get the best bang for his buck. The only thing they know how to do is make a bunch of money for themselves through fraud. See, what is it called? Trump had more than Biden and Harris. In fact, Harris is, no, that's not true. Kamala Harris, the day after Joe Biden stepped out and she got the gig, had $3 billion in the war chest, and they spent it all. Donald Trump didn't spend but several hundred million. Yeah, the faucet's been turned off, whether it was Doge or whether it was USAID or whether it was Act Blue or all the other things that Donald Trump has done to shut the faucet off. The faucet's been turned off. They aren't getting the money they used to get. Yeah, plus free ads for Trump as MSM. Yeah, he knows how to get his name. You know, what would you say? Press is press, whether it's good or bad. He knows how to get his name out there. He knows how to work the system. Here is well, I don't want to do that one. Let's see. I'm running out of time, so I'm editing on the fly here. So here is, oh yeah, this is the one right here. The Democrats voted against the SAVE Act in Congress. 213 nay Democrats voted nay. Do you know how they vote in Congress? They got a little machine to vote in Congress. And you got to put your ID card to vote. 213 Democrats voted against IDs while using their ID to vote. 213 Democrats voted against using ID to vote. While using their ID to vote. Hey, I got an idea. Let's all show up next time they have a consequence. Who's with me? I'm going to go to D.C. I'm going to go into the House because you don't need an ID, right? We don't need ID to enter. ID, American people can't get ID. We're all too stupid to get our IDs, but I identify as a member of Congress, and I'm going to go down to the House, and I'm going to vote on the next consequential bill, whatever it is. But you don't need ID to vote. Unless you're a member of Congress, then you need ID to vote. They voted against ID for voting while using an ID to vote. You can't make this stuff up. You just can't make this stuff up. This is so utterly, completely ridiculous. By the way, did you see that? I'm not going to play it, but did you see what happened yesterday? The EPA and Donald Trump administration just undid all of the EPA stuff that Barack Obama and Joe Biden did, all of it got undid yesterday, the complete deregulation of the EPA. And I don't know how much this is going to play out, but it's going to be good. One of the things that they got rid of was that stupid auto start button. You know what I'm talking about? The auto start button. You buy a newer vehicle and you pull up to the stoplight and it stops, the whole vehicle stops. And then when you go to take off, it starts again. Yeah, terrible. DEF, yeah. I think DEF is going away, by the way. One of the things that they said they were deregulating all of this, the CAFE standards. They're setting the CAFE standards back 25 years. That's the I will contribute to the Patriot Mike Get Out of Jail Fund. Yeah, I had that. I don't know if I get to it. Cat Turd was pointing that out too. He was. I've been on the fence about Steve Bannon too for a long time. Something just in my spirit was like, it ain't right. He does cover some stuff that's pretty good, but you're like, what in the world's going on with Steve Bannon? And then it turns out that Steve Bannon and Epstein were like this. Let me see if I got that Cat Turd one. I know that Cat Turd and Steve Bannon had been fighting for a while. Here it is, right here. Here's what Cat Turd. Since you brought it up, Steve Bannon, it's Friday. Let's do it. It says, I've always been neutral on Steve Bannon, and I have too for the most part. I remember listening to Steve Bannon when they had the Breitbart radio show in the morning on the radio station here. I'd listen to the Breitbart radio show, and then it would go into Rush Limbaugh, and then it would go into Sean Hannity, and then would go into Mark Levin in the evening time. That was a good day back then. But Sean Hannity, he's a turd bag too. So anyways, I digress. Let's go back. And Steve Bannon was on the show. This was after Breitbart got killed. Oh, he had a heart attack. That's right. No. You know they have a gun that can make you have a heart attack? It's weird. Anyways. I was always been neutral on Steve Bannon. Didn't really care to follow his war room. But now I've read the emails between him and Jeffrey Epstein. My God, it's disgustingly bad. And save your breath acting like it was a documentary. I've been reading the emails between them. They're best friends, trying to take down Trump together. This is true. He didn't sell out in prison. It was well before then. This communication, and I've posted some of it on my Telegram page. This communication between Bannon and Epstein goes back years and years and years and years, at least 15, 20 years. And anyone from the war room who's trying to justify this is full of crap. It's so bad, and there's no coming back from this. Yeah, he's bad. Mike's a conspiracy theorist. Well, this is not a conspiracy theory. You go read it for yourself. I've read many of them. It's just not been, there's just been so much other stuff for me to talk about. I've got it on the list. I just never get to it kind of thing. But this is why I've been referring you guys to go to my Telegram page, t.me/Patriot Mike Thoughts. t.me/Patriot Mike Thoughts. The link is in the description section. Go to telegram.org. If you don't want to put it on your phone, because it takes up some memory on your phone if you don't set it right, put it on your laptop, put it on your desktop. You could do that. I have it on both of mine. They were commiserating about Trump together while Bannon was in the Trump administration last time around. And I kind of knew there was some sketchy stuff about Bannon, also, but he had some good stuff, some good interviews, some good information that came to light. But that's the problem with these infiltrators, these Patriot mythology infiltrators, is they got in there and they sounded like mega and they acted like mega and they put mega information out. They put research out. They did the right stuff. They said the right things. And there's many of them that you all believe even to this day until they don't. And that's the problem with it. And Matt says, thank you for speaking the truth. You're one of the real ones out. I try to be real, but there's so much information out there. There's people that I followed that gave great information. I found lots of good stuff to talk about. Legit, real stuff. Good talking points. I don't follow them anymore. Because they flipped on us. Because every other post on their channel is the Jews are evil. Because every other post on the channel is Donald Trump selling us out because he won't release the Epstein stuff. I'm so tired of that crap. As you noticed, I don't know if you've noticed, but I haven't put in the last year, at least, maybe not that long, a whole lot of Steve Bannon on my show. I was just the other day, I was scrolling through, Steve Bannon was interviewing somebody. It was a great interview, and it was like, wow. And I thought about sharing it over my Telegram page. And I just said, I can't. And I didn't. I can't deal with it. I saw another one. It was a real good post. It made a real good point, but the person that shared the point was, he's a Bolshevik Jew. It was a comment above the post. So I went and found the post somewhere else and shared it. So I didn't, because what does that have to do with it? Whether he's a Jew or not a Jew, what does that have to do with it? It's bigotry and racism and evil, by the way. Did y'all see the post I put on Facebook today? Waiting for not the one about Massey, which got a bunch of, or not Massey, about Donald Trump was the only one to release anything on the Epstein. I posted that too, but I said on my show. But no, I've been doing this, and I've told you about it. I take the scripture, I take out the chapter and verse and post only the scripture. And boy, does it get a reaction. This is the scripture that I posted today. It's from Zechariah. It's the second to last chapter, I think. And this is how it goes. A prophecy, a word of the Lord concerning Israel. The Lord who stretches out his hands, the Lord who stretches out heavens, who lays the foundations of the earth and forms the human spirit within a person, declares, I am going to make Jerusalem a cup that sends all surrounding peoples reeling. Judah will be besieged as well as Jerusalem. On that day, when all the nations of earth are gathered against her, I will make Jerusalem an immovable rock for all the nations. All who try to move it will injure themselves. On that day, I will strike every house with panic. Every horse with panic, every rider with madness, declares the Lord. I will keep a watchful eye over Judah, but I will blind all the horses of the nations. Then the clans of Judah will say in their hearts, the people of Jerusalem are strong, because the Lord Almighty is their God. And on that day, I will make the clans of Judah like a fire pot in a woodpile, like a flaming torch among the sheaves. In other words, he's going to use them to set a fire. That's how they'd say it down south. Set a fire. They will consume all the surrounding peoples right and left, but Jerusalem will remain intact in her place. And you ask, well, what, Mike? Did you say that? Is that your prophecy? No, not at all. That's from 2,500 years ago. That's 2,500 years ago. That's in the Old Testament, 2,500 years ago. I know that you don't read the Bible enough to get the reference. 2,000 years ago is Jesus, New Testament. 2,500 years ago, it's before then. But what it's talking about hasn't happened yet. You know, these people are so evil and such hypocrite. Even the have figured it out. So I don't know how to say this guy. Dmitriev, he's a special envoy for Putin, says the U.S. President Trump has been fighting the satanic wing of the liberal West. And Laura Logan says, now this is precisely what they fear. Two powerful Christian nations working together against a global satanic cult. And he's right. And she's right.
And we have
I got one more post I want to talk about. Well, maybe two. Now, this is again, these are not reading the top part, reading the bottom part. It says DOJ has evidence Adam Schiff committed many crimes, Congressman says. That's Representative Coomer talking about Adam Schiff. Of course, the guy on top, strange, right? Our U.S. government spends 90% of its time investigating itself, and they never seem to bring anyone to justice. It's coming. It's coming. The reason it hasn't happened yet is we're in an election year, and that's the way that it works. It's coming. But I want to play this video of this lady. This is an average lady. Just an average lady hearing what these people saying, talking about exactly what Scott Jensen was saying on CNN. All the people, oh my God, you can't say that. You're calling black people stupid. You can't say that. Maybe she can.
What they're trying to do here is the same thing that was done in the South for decades to prevent people of color from voting.
See, this is where my righteous anger pop up because I know what he's saying is a lie. I live in the South. I've been living in the South my whole life on the Gulf Coast. I go to vote every single time there's an election. And guess what? I show my ID. I write my signature. They check to make sure who I am. I go vote. No problems. Nobody asking me any questions. Nobody making me count the jelly beans in the jar. And quit lumping us in the people of color category. We're Black Americans. And we are citizens, and nobody is taking away our right to vote. What they are doing is they're using Black people, going back in the past, provoking emotional manipulation, because they know if they say Jim Crow or slavery, Black people are going to be like, oh my God, he's right. They're coming against us. This has nothing to do with you, Black people. Wake up. People of color he talking about is illegal migrants. They don't have IDs. That's their new voting base. Letting these people use you. I've been having an ID since I was 15 years old. I'm 50 years old. Every Black person I know has an ID. You need an ID to drive. You need an ID to go into a club. You need an ID to fly on a plane. You need an ID to go into another country. You need an ID to buy liquor. You need an ID to buy cigarettes. I don't know any Black person without an ID. Even the poorest of the poor Black people have an ID. JJ down the street that dig in the trash can that I pass by, and he always bothering me about a little bit of money. And when I feeling a little giving, I give him $5. Guess what he do? He go straight into the liquor store and go buy him some liquor. But before he do, he present his ID. So even the homeless man got an ID. Black people, y'all can keep letting these liberals play in y'all face, but Malcolm X warned y'all about these people. They're using you. This is about getting illegal migrants to vote. They don't have an ID, so they don't want any questions whenever they walk in there. They are the Democratic Party new voting base. They are the new slave.
For instance,
oh wait, she's not done yet.
Married and change your last name, you won't be able to show ID and you'll be discriminated against. If you can't find a birth certificate or a proper ID, you'll be discriminated against.
Well, first of all, that's a lie. I've been married twice. Don't judge me. Divorced and then he died. Now I'm remarried. Now let's get back to it. Both times I presented my birth certificate and photo ID. And then I got a marriage license. I got married. And then if I tarried on getting my name changed, guess what? If I went to vote and I didn't have the right name, all I have to do is bring my marriage license. And we know we got a birth certificate. You know why? Because I needed it to get my marriage license, dummy. Or if you didn't need it, you had to have some type of ID in order to get the marriage license. So you bring both. You bring both. And they check it. And they see that the marriage license is your name change. That is just if you just got married at the time of an election. Most of us women, we get married and we handle business. We go ahead and get that new social security card and that new driver's license. Black America, I'm going to need you to wake up. Did you hear what I said? Black America.
So can she say it? I don't think they think that Black people and Hispanic people and rural people and whatever people are dumb. I don't think that, other than that they think you're dumb enough to believe they're schmuel. I don't think that at all. I think they're just putting out a line for the super people over the superficial, won't go any deeper people on MS Now, MSNBC by a different name. Was it a rose by a different name? Still smells the same, something like that, like poop. One more thing. Not only are we going to get the SAVE Act, but we're going to find out that 2020 was stolen. The DOJ is on this. The FBI is on this. There's going to be people criminally prosecuted. And it's going to be Republicans, too. Like Maricopa County, Arizona. Breaking news.
I've been telling you all week, keep an eye in Arizona. Keep an eye in Arizona. I think there's a Georgia-like event in Arizona, like what happened in Fulton County. I think tomorrow is a likely day. So I just want to put that on your calendar. Keep an eye tomorrow. I see Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem going down there. Now, why is that important? The Homeland Security Department oversees the election machines and election counting capabilities. CISA and the Homeland Security Department deal with that. The FBI Justice Department deal with criminal violations. So she's down there for a reason. And I think my reporting suggests that there'll be some sort of important election integrity event tomorrow, Maricopa County in Arizona. That'll be the second state after Georgia to have that sort of treatment. So put it on your calendar. Get it ready, and we'll have you covered here at Real America's Voice and justthenews.com.
So that would be today that he's claiming it. Who knows what's going to happen? Maybe happening right now. I don't know. This is Jake Hoffman of Arizona, and this is what he posted yesterday. In contact with DHS less 72 hours. Stay tuned, America. The corrupt Maricopa County Board of Supervisors, Republicans, their elected department are in full panic. Election director seen in full day sweats today. The Board of Supervisors, past and present, are corrupt to the core. People are going to go to jail. It's finally going to come out. It's finally going to happen. Right before the next election, all this stuff's going to be made known. And you know, Donald Trump's come out and declared May 17th as a day that we rededicate our country back to God as it was in the beginning. It means a national day of repentance. We need to know what we're repenting of. I have said that will bring the God, according to Kim Clement, will bring America to its knees and humble her yet some more. And I have said that when it comes out, what has been done in our name, the United States of America, around the world, we will sit in sackcloth and ashes and cry out to a vengeful God for mercy that he might relent, which is straight from the story of Jonah. When Jonah came to the king of Nineveh and said, God said, he got off of his throne, took off his royal robes, sat in sackcloth and ashes, and gave a command that every man and beast in Nineveh should not eat anything, should fast and pray that God might have mercy. And that's exactly what we will be doing when we find out what all the things that we've been doing in this country. And that's when the self-deporting starts. And I think that we're going to find out a lot of it. Maybe not all of it, but a lot of it before May 17th. We will see. We will see. That's around Jewish holiday. I don't know how to say it. The giving of the 10 Commandments. I'm out. Yeah, it's I went and looked. It's like a week after that. That's Pentecost, is what we would call it in English. That is the 50-day mark from Passover. And you got to go for the proper day, you got to go off the Jewish calendar, the Hebrew calendar, and not the American calendar. Because it has to do with the moons, not the sun. But it's not the same day. I looked, I thought, is that day? It's very close, but it's not. So anyways, interesting. So, all right then. Thank you for joining me. It's Friday. You all know what that means, right? That means turn it off. It's beautiful out. It's 52 degrees out right now. Go out and do some stuff outside. Maybe not it is where you're at. And if you're down there in South Florida, I don't want to hear it. But anyways, take the day off, turn it all off, relax. Do what Aaron does. Aaron puts his phone and his electronics down at sunset today. Doesn't pick it back up till sunset tomorrow. That's what Charlie Kirk said to do. Take a day off, take a break. I'll be here Monday. We'll talk about it. Patriot Mike is out.